Hi guys, Mick Lynch gave as good as he got when he was invited onto Sky News to talk about current strike action being taken by the RMT union, which represents rail staff. Now, industrial action has resumed and continued across a number of sectors, and there has been some movement from the government on some issues. But there is a constant attempt by the Tories to divide both workers by giving different deals to different sectors and putting out a narrative that some trade unions are willing to work with the government. But they're also trying to turn the general public against the unions, and some of the rhetoric is starting to be repeated by journalists. Here Mick Lynch called it out, much to the ire of Jayne Secker of Sky News. Have a listen.
But you see, there are others who will say that actually because of the number of strike days, they are now considering different ways of working and ways that have worked around since COVID. People are much happier now working from home, absolutely, for a lot of the time. And some would argue that you're actually striking your own way out of a job because you're going to contribute to the railways becoming less popular, less reliable. People are going to stop relying on the railways.
Well, I don't think that's true. That's a government line that you're punting out on their behalf. That's the sort of stuff they come out with.
Excuse me, you don't know. Excuse me, I'm talking to you about conversations I've had. Please, I'm not going to have you stand there and accuse me of being a government mouthpiece. I'm a human being, I'm a middle-aged woman, and I'm a journalist. And I'm talking to you about conversations I've had with people I know. This has got nothing to do with the government.
It's exactly the phraseology that I hear across the table from government ministers, almost verbatim. So there you go. Maybe you're just very in tune with what they say. So what we've got is a return to the railway. We've got... OK, well, fine. Maybe they're in tune with the government as well. So we've got a return to railways. We've got a return to profit-making by these companies. And we've got a return to fare hikes. So what we need to do is change the system. We need to get a railway that's reliable so that people can use it, so they can get back into our towns and cities, revive the economy for the hospitality industry, and all the other people that rely on the railways and public transport. But what we're seeing now is a government that's determined to drive down public transport usage, whether that's on the buses or the railway. Fares are being hiked, services are becoming more and more unreliable, and the problem is that there is not a coherent railway system in our country. It is completely fractured and broken, and we need to revise that and get a decent system that's in all our interests.
Mick Lynch, General Secretary of...
Okay. What I love about Mick Lynch is that he's assertive, but he never loses the head. He's always calm and collected. And this is important when you're dealing with journalists who are trying to create a narrative here. And the narrative, of course, is that, people are turned off from using public transport because of the strikes. When in reality, if you ask people who are reliant on public transport for, to get to work or to get around, their primary concern is cost. Rail fares here in this particular case are much higher than other parts of Europe. People are worried about that. Availability of transport is also a concern, and reliability of transport. Now, the trade unions don't have any control over the rail fares. They don't have any control over reliability or availability. This is the job of the rail network itself. And, yes, I imagine strike action, the problems that it creates for rail users is on the list too. But as far as I know, the primary concern is rail fares and reliability. But why are these problems? Because the rail network has been privatized, and you have these private companies whose goal is to maximize profit and reduce costs. Labor is a massive cost, so they try to lay off as many workers as possible, or try to get them to do jobs that are not in respect of their contracts. Mick Lynch and others have already highlighted, both in interviews but also in select committees, about how the rail network is trying to make the rail network itself, the rail operators I should say, are trying to make the rail network less safe by removing staff, putting more pressure on existing workers, and closing services that are vital for people who, for example, who are disabled, because they need to maximize profit. If it was nationalized, you wouldn't have these concerns, and you wouldn't have this strike action. And it's frankly disappointing to see journalists, verbatim regurgitating these government lines of, well, people are resorting to smart working or using their cars because of strike action on those particular days, perhaps. But in general, if people are working from home or relying on other forms of transport, it's because of rail fares, reliability, and availability. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.